English Daily, the podcast.
Your English journey starts now. Hey, English learners, welcome back to your podcast, the English Daily Podcast. I'm Anna, and I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yes, and I'm Jack. Hey, everyone. Anna, I'm so happy we're doing this episode together.
Today's episode is all about reflecting on our achievements and growth in 2025.
That's right. And it feels like just yesterday we were making New Year's resolutions, and now here we are, already in the middle of the year.
I know, right? Time really does fly when you're busy working on yourself.
That's so true, Anna. So whether you're a beginner or already speaking well, you'll find something useful here.
We're going to talk about achievements, growth, and all those little wins that matter. And we'll share some practical vocabulary, too.
Let's dive right in.
So, Anna, let's start with something that a lot of people can relate to. How has your professional life been this year? Have there been any big achievements that you're really proud of?
Oh, wow. That's a great question, Jack. Actually, this year has been quite transformative for me professionally. I finally got promoted to a management position at work, which was something I had been working toward for about 3 years.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's such a big deal. How did that feel when you got the news?
Well, honestly, I was literally shaking when my boss called me into her office. I thought I was in trouble at first, But then she said those magic words, and I just couldn't believe it.
I can totally imagine. What do you think was the key factor that helped you get that promotion? Was there something specific you did?
That's a really good question. I think it was a combination of things, but honestly, I think the biggest thing was that I finally started speaking up more in meetings. Before, I would always have great ideas, but I'd keep them to myself. This year, I made a conscious effort to share my thoughts, even when I felt nervous.
That's so impressive, Anna. A lot of people struggle with that. What advice would you give to someone who's in that same position, wanting to advance but feeling hesitant to speak up?
Oh, I would say start small. You don't have to give a whole presentation right away. Maybe just share one idea in a meeting each week. And you know what? Most of the time, people appreciate hearing different perspectives. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about contributing value.
That's such great advice. I actually had a similar experience this year, too. I finally started my own small freelance business on the side, and it's been a journey.
Oh, wow. Tell me more about that. What kind of freelance work are you doing?
Well, I'm doing graphic design work, mostly creating logos and social media content for small businesses. It's something I'd always wanted to do, but I was so scared to take the first step. The whole what if it fails thing held me back for years.
That's so relatable. So what finally made you decide to go for it?
To be honest, it was a combination of things. I read this book about overcoming fear, and one thing really stuck with me. The biggest regret people have is not the things they tried and failed at, but the things they never tried at all. That hit hard.
That's powerful. How has the business been going so far? Did it meet your expectations?
It's been better than I expected, but also harder than I expected at the same time. I got my first client within 2 weeks, which was incredible, but then there were times when I had no clients for a month, and that was really stressful.
That's the reality of freelancing, though. It takes time to build up a steady client base. Have you learned anything from those slower periods?
Definitely. I learned the importance of consistency and marketing. Even when I'm busy, I should be reaching out to potential clients. Also, I learned to save money during the good months to cover the slower months. Financial planning is so important when you're self-employed.
That's really smart. And you're still working your full-time job while doing this on the side?
Yes, exactly. It's definitely a lot of work, but I'm building something for my future. And honestly, even if it doesn't become my full-time income, the skills I've learned have already been worth it. I've gotten so much better at communicating with clients, managing my time, and solving problems creatively.
That's the perfect mindset, Jack. It's not just about the end result. It's about the growth along the way. And honestly, that growth is what makes achievements meaningful.
Speaking of growth, let's talk about personal development. What are some things you've done this year to grow as a person outside of work?
Oh, that's such a great question. This year, I made a conscious effort to step out of my comfort zone more often. For example, I finally learned how to cook properly. Before, I could only make basic things like pasta and eggs.
Wait, you couldn't cook before? That's so funny because you're always talking about food on the podcast.
I know, right? It's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. My mom always said I'd never survive on my own, and she was probably right. But this year, I started taking cooking classes, and now I can actually make some pretty decent meals.
That's so funny. What got you into cooking? Was there a specific moment that inspired you?
Actually, it was when I moved into my own apartment. Suddenly, I couldn't just rely on takeout every day. It was getting too expensive. So I decided to learn. I started with simple recipes from YouTube, and then I joined this local cooking class on weekends.
That's such a great initiative. What kind of things can you make now?
Oh, I can make so many things now. Soups, stir fries, even some desserts. Last week, I made lasagna from scratch, and it was amazing. I felt so proud of myself.
That's awesome. You know, learning a practical skill like cooking is such a great achievement. It's the kind of thing that makes everyday life better. Have you noticed any other areas where you've grown personally?
Definitely. I've also been working on my mental health this year. I started practicing meditation and journaling, which has been really transformative for me.
That's so important, Anna. Mental health is something we don't talk about enough. How did you get into journaling and meditation?
Well, I was going through a really stressful period a few months ago. I wasn't sleeping well and I felt anxious all the time. My friend recommended that I try journaling, and I was skeptical at first, but it really helped me process my thoughts.
That's wonderful. What does your journaling practice look like? Do you write every day?
Almost every day, actually. I try to write at least 3 things I'm grateful for each morning, and then sometimes I write about my worries or goals. It's like having a conversation with myself, and it helps me clarify my thoughts.
And meditation? I always wanted to try it, but never knew where to start.
Start with just 5 minutes a day. That's what I did. There are so many apps now that guide you through it. The key is to be consistent, not perfect. Some days I miss a day, and that's okay. The important thing is to get back to it without judgment.
That's such good advice. I think I need to try that myself. What about reading? Have you read any good books this year?
Oh my gosh, yes! I've read more books this year than I have in the past 5 years combined. I made it a goal to read at least one book a month, and I've actually exceeded that.
That's impressive. What kinds of books have you been reading?
Mostly personal development and some fiction. Some of my favorites were about habit building and productivity. I learned so much about how our brains work and how we can form better habits.
One book that really changed my perspective was about emotional intelligence. It helped me understand my own emotions better and how to relate to others more effectively. I think it's made me a better friend and colleague.
That's such valuable knowledge. Emotional intelligence is so important for success in life, not just careers. Do you have any book recommendations for our listeners?
Definitely. I would say start with whatever interests you. Don't force yourself to read something just because it's productive. The best book is one you'll actually finish. And honestly, even reading fiction is great for your brain and vocabulary. Let's shift gears and talk about health and wellness. This is something that affects all of us, right? How has your health journey been this year, Anna?
Oh man, this is an area where I've actually made some real progress. I finally started going to the gym regularly. Before, I would go for a few weeks and then stop. But this year, I've been consistent for 6 months now.
6 months? That's amazing. What made the difference this time? You've tried before, right?
Yeah, I've tried so many times before and always gave up after a few weeks. But this time, I found a workout buddy. My friend from work started going with me, and having someone to be accountable to really helped.
That's so smart. Having a workout partner can make such a big difference. Do you think that's the main reason you stuck with it?
I think that was a huge part of it. But also, I changed my mindset. Before, I would go to the gym with the goal of losing weight and looking a certain way. This time, I focused on how exercise makes me feel rather than how I look. The mental health benefits have been just as important as the physical ones.
That's such a healthy perspective. It's so easy to get caught up in the numbers on the scale, but feeling good is what really matters. Have you noticed any changes in how you feel?
Oh, definitely. I have so much more energy now. I used to feel tired all the time, especially in the afternoon. Now I feel alert and ready to take on the day. Also, my sleep has improved so much.
That's wonderful. Sleep is so underrated. When you sleep better, everything else just falls into place, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? I didn't just start going to the gym. I also changed my diet this year, but in a way that doesn't feel like a diet. I focused on adding more healthy foods rather than restricting myself.
What does that mean exactly? How did you approach it?
Well, instead of saying I can't eat this or I can't eat that, I started saying, what can I add? So I'd make sure to include vegetables in every meal, or I'd drink more water throughout the day. It felt more positive and sustainable.
That's such a great approach. Restrictive diets often fail because they feel punishing, but adding good things feels like a gift to your body. Have you tried any new activities this year besides the gym?
Yes, I started hiking with a group on weekends. There's this amazing trail near where I live, and we go every Saturday morning. It's been so great for both my physical and mental health. Being in nature is so peaceful.
Hiking sounds wonderful. I've always wanted to try that. Is it difficult? I'm not exactly the most athletic person.
Oh, you should definitely try it. There are trails for all skill levels. And honestly, it's not about being the fastest or going the farthest. It's about enjoying the journey and the scenery. Plus, it's a great way to meet new people who share similar interests.
That's true. I've made some really good friends through that hiking group. It's nice to have a community of people who value health and adventure. What about you? Have you done anything different health-wise this year?
Yes, I started taking dance classes, which has been absolutely wonderful. I've always loved dancing, but I never thought I was good enough to take lessons. This year, I just said, forget it, and signed up for a beginner's class.
And how did it go? Were you nervous at first? Now, let's talk about relationships, which is such an important part of life. This year, how have your relationships evolved? Have there been any meaningful connections or growth in this area, Anna?
That's a really beautiful question, Jack. This year, I've put more effort into nurturing my existing relationships, and I've also made some new friends. I think quality matters more than quantity when it comes to friendships.
That's so true. What have you done differently this year to maintain those connections?
Well, I've been more intentional about staying in touch. Before, I would let weeks or even months go by without talking to some of my close friends. This year, I made a rule to reach out to at least one friend every week, whether it's a text, a call, or meeting up in person.
That's a great practice. Have you noticed a difference in your relationships because of that?
Absolutely. My friendships feel deeper and more meaningful now. People comment that they feel more connected to me, and I feel the same way. It's like the small efforts really add up over time.
You know, it's funny. I used to be so scared of reaching out first. I would think, what if they're busy? Or what if they don't want to hear from me? But this year, I realized that most people actually appreciate the gesture. Everyone wants to feel valued and remembered.
That's such an important realization. Most of the time, we're all in the same boat, worrying about the same things. What about family relationships? Any growth there?
Yes, I had some difficult conversations with family members this year that I'd been avoiding for a long time. It was uncomfortable at first, but it was so necessary for our relationship to move forward.
That sounds really challenging, Jack. What gave you the courage to have those conversations?
I think I finally realized that avoiding the issues was causing more harm than good. I was holding on to resentment and unhappiness, and it was affecting my mental health. So I decided that facing the discomfort was worth it for the long-term benefit.
That's incredibly brave, Jack. Difficult conversations are so hard, but they're often necessary for growth. How did those conversations go?
Honestly, they went better than I expected. Once we started talking openly, we both realized that we'd been misunderstanding each other for years. There were tears, of course, but also a lot of relief. Our relationship is so much stronger now because of it.
That's such a powerful story, Jack. What advice would you give to someone who's nervous about having a difficult conversation?
I would say choose the right time and place. Be honest but kind, and focus on how you feel rather than blaming the other person. Use I statements like, I feel hurt when, instead of you always. And most importantly, go in with an open heart and the goal of understanding, not winning an argument.
That's such great advice. On a lighter note, I've also started dating this year, which is completely new for me.
Wait, what? You've been dating? That's so exciting. Tell me everything.
Well, I met someone through a mutual friend, and we've been getting to know each other. It's been a really positive experience so far. I've learned so much about myself through this process.
What have you learned? What insights have you gained?
I've learned that I need to be vulnerable to truly connect with someone. Before, I would put up walls and not let people see the real me. But this year, I decided to be more authentic and open, and it's attracted the right kind of people into my life.
That's beautiful, Anna. Vulnerability is so important in building genuine connections. Have you had any challenges along the way?
Of course, dating can be really discouraging sometimes. There were times when I felt like giving up or questioning whether I was good enough, but I learned to be patient and kind to myself through the process.
That's so important. Self-compassion is key in everything we do, including relationships. It sounds like you've grown a lot this year in this area. Let's talk about another important aspect of life: finances. This can be a sensitive topic, but it's so important for our peace of mind. How has your financial situation evolved this year, Anna?
This year has been a turning point for me financially. I finally started taking my savings seriously. Before, I would just save whatever was left at the end of the month, which was usually nothing.
That's so relatable. I'm the same way. It's so easy to let expenses creep up on you.
Exactly. This year, I decided to try a different approach. I set up automatic transfers to my savings account right when I get paid. It's called paying yourself first. I treat my savings like a bill that must be paid.
That's a great strategy. How much are you able to save now?
I'm saving about 20% of my income each month. It wasn't easy at first, but I adjusted my budget to make it work. I cut out some unnecessary expenses like subscriptions I don't use and eating out too often.
20% is fantastic. That's a really healthy savings rate. Have you set any specific financial goals?
Yes, I'm saving for an emergency fund, which is something I've never had before. The goal is to have 6 months of expenses saved up in case anything unexpected happens. I'm about halfway there now.
That's such an important goal to have. An emergency fund provides so much peace of mind. What about investing? Have you looked into that?
I have. This year, I started learning about investing. I was really intimidated by it before, but I realized that starting small is better than not starting at all. I've been putting a little bit into index funds each month.
Index funds. That's great. They're a really accessible way to start investing. How did you learn about them?
I read a lot of personal finance books and listened to podcasts. There's so much free information out there. I also talked to friends who are more experienced with investing and asked them for advice.
That's the best way to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. What about debt? Have you made progress on that this year?
Yes, I paid off my credit card debt, which was such a huge weight off my shoulders. It took about 8 months of focused effort, but I finally did it. I never want to carry that kind of debt again.
Congratulations. That's such a major achievement. What did you do to pay it off?
I used the debt snowball method, where you pay off the smallest balance first while making minimum payments on the others. It gave me quick wins that kept me motivated. Once I paid off one card, I used that money to tackle the next one.
That method works really well for a lot of people. The psychological wins are important. Have you made any financial mistakes this year that you've learned from?
Oh, definitely. I made an impulse purchase that I really regretted. I bought some expensive equipment that I thought I needed for my freelance work, but it turned out I could have started with something much cheaper.
That's a common mistake. We often think we need all the fancy tools before we can get started, but that's not true. What did you learn from that experience?
I learned to do thorough research before making big purchases. Also, I learned that it's okay to start small and upgrade later. You don't need perfect equipment to get started. You just need to start.
That's such valuable wisdom. Starting is the hardest part, and we shouldn't let the pursuit of perfection hold us back. Any other financial highlights this year?
Yes, I started tracking my expenses using an app, which has been eye-opening. I had no idea where all my money was going. Now I can see exactly what I'm spending and make better decisions.
Awareness is the first step to change. Tracking your expenses is one of the most powerful things you can do for your financial health. Great job, Anna.
We've talked so much about what you've achieved this year, Anna. Now let's look ahead. What are some goals you have for the rest of 2025? What do you want to continue working on?
That's a great question. For the rest of 2025, I want to continue building my freelance business. My goal is to have at least 5 regular clients by the end of the year. I've already got 2, so I'm halfway there.
That's a really achievable goal. What do you think will be the biggest challenge in getting there?
Probably marketing and reaching new clients. I need to get better at promoting my services. I'm planning to create a portfolio website and be more active on social media.
Those are great steps. Having an online presence is so important for freelancers. What about personal goals? Any of those on your list?
Yes, I want to continue my journey with meditation and journaling. My goal is to maintain my practice consistently and maybe even try a meditation retreat next year. That would be amazing.
A retreat sounds wonderful. Imagine spending a whole weekend in silence, just meditating. It would be so peaceful.
It would. Also, I want to travel more. I've been so focused on work that I've barely traveled the past couple of years. I'm planning a trip to Japan next spring, and I'm so excited.
Japan? That's incredible. What made you choose Japan?
I've always been fascinated by Japanese culture, the food, the history, everything. And I've heard that it's such a beautiful country. I want to experience it for myself.
You should definitely go. It's on my bucket list too. What about reading? Any goals there?
I want to read at least 15 books by the end of the year. I'm at 11 right now, so I need to read 4 more in the remaining months. I think I can do it.
4 books is totally doable. You're such an inspiration, Anna. What about health goals?
I want to keep up with my dance classes and maybe perform at our year-end showcase. The thought terrifies me, but that's exactly why I should do it, right?
Yes, that's how we grow, facing our fears head on. I have no doubt you'll be amazing. What about me? Any goals for the rest of 2025?
Let's hear 'em. You've shared so much about your journey this year, Jack. What's next?
Well, I want to keep growing my emergency fund and maybe start investing more aggressively. I also want to get better at public speaking. I've been invited to give a talk at my company's annual meeting, and I'm really nervous about it.
That's a wonderful opportunity. Public speaking is such a valuable skill. What's your plan to prepare for it?
I'm going to practice as much as possible. I'll record myself and watch it back, which is cringy but helpful, and I'm also going to join a public speaking group to get more experience.
That's the best approach. The more you practice, the more comfortable you become. And remember, everyone gets nervous, even the most experienced speakers. It's how you manage that nervousness that matters.
Also, I want to continue building my relationships. I want to stay connected with the friends I've made and maybe even expand my social circle. I never thought I'd be someone who values friendships this much, but here I am.
That's so beautiful, Jack. Relationships are the heart of a fulfilling life. What about travel goals? Any trips planned?
I'm planning a road trip with some friends to the national parks next summer. We're going to visit several parks over 2 weeks. I'm so excited about the adventure.
That sounds like an amazing trip. Nature, friends, and adventure. What more can you want?
That's going to be incredible. Do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners as we wrap up this conversation, Anna?
I would say don't wait for the new year to set goals. You can start right now, today. And remember, progress is better than perfection. Every small step counts towards your growth.
And be kind to yourself. Growth isn't always easy, and there will be setbacks. But what matters is that you keep going and never give up on becoming the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jack. This has been such a meaningful conversation. Hey, English learners. Now it's time for our vocabulary breakdown. Today, we're going to learn some really useful phrases related to achievements and growth. Are you ready, Jack?
I'm so ready, Anna. These phrases are going to be so helpful for our listeners.
Let's start with our first phrase. What's the first one, Jack?
Our first phrase is hit a milestone. This means to reach an important point or achievement in your journey. It's like reaching a significant marker that shows you've made progress.
I hit a milestone this year when I saved my first $1,000. It was such an exciting moment.
That's a great example. Another way to use it, she hit a milestone when she published her first book.
What's our next phrase?
The next phrase is step out of your comfort zone. This means to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable or nervous because it's outside of what you're used to. It's how we grow and learn new things.
I stepped out of my comfort zone when I started my own business. It was scary, but so worth it.
Another example, traveling alone helped him step out of his comfort zone and become more independent.
What's the next one?
Make headway means to make progress, especially when something is difficult. It's often used when you've been working hard on something and you're starting to see results.
I made headway on my novel this year. I've written 3 chapters so far.
Another way to use it, we're making headway on the project, but there's still a lot to do.
Next phrase is look back on. Means to think about or reflect on something that happened in the past. It's often when we think about our experiences.
I love to look back on my travels and remember all the fun I had.
Another example, when I look back on my 20s, I realize how much I learned.
Set goals means to decide what you want to achieve and plan how to get there. It's an important part of personal growth.
I set goals for myself at the beginning of this year, and it's helped me stay focused.
Another example, she set goals to improve her health and fitness.
What's next?
Personal growth refers to the process of developing as a person, improving your skills, and becoming a better version of yourself. It's about inner development.
This year has been a year of personal growth for me. I've learned so much about myself.
Another way to use it, personal growth often comes from challenging experiences.
Next phrase is overcome a challenge. Means to successfully deal with a difficult situation or problem. It's about facing difficulties and getting through them.
I overcame a challenge when I learned to cook. It was hard at first, but I did it.
Another example, she overcame her fear of public speaking by taking a class.
What's the next one?
Stay committed means to continue doing something even when it's difficult. It's about perseverance and dedication.
Staying committed to my gym routine has been hard, but it's worth it.
Another example, he stayed committed to his dream of becoming a doctor.
Next is track your progress, which means to monitor how you're doing toward your goals. It helps you see what's working and what needs adjustment.
I track my progress using a habit tracker app. It's so satisfying to see my streaks.
Another example, it's important to track your progress to know if you're moving in the right direction.
Next is build on your success, means to use what you've achieved as a foundation to achieve even more. It's about continuing to grow.
Now that I've started my business, I want to build on my success and grow it even more.
Another example, the team built on their success and won the championship again.
Take stock means to evaluate where you are and what you've accomplished. It's like taking inventory of your life.
At the end of each year, I like to take stock of my achievements and areas for improvement.
Another example, before making new goals, take stock of where you are now.
What's next?
Reach your potential means to achieve the best that you can be. It's about fulfilling your capabilities.
Everyone has the ability to reach their potential if they put in the work.
Another example, with the right support, she was able to reach her potential.
Next is break a habit. Means to stop doing something that you do automatically, often something unhealthy or unhelpful.
I finally broke my habit of checking my phone first thing in the morning.
Another example, it took him months to break the habit of procrastination.
Next is form a new habit, means to create a new behavior that becomes automatic through repetition.
I'm trying to form a new habit of reading for 30 minutes every night before bed.
Another example, consistency is key when you want to form a new habit.
Another example, push yourself means to work harder or do something more challenging than usual. It's about going beyond your limits.
Sometimes you need to push yourself to achieve your goals.
Another example, he pushed himself to run a marathon, even though he was never a runner.
And finally, self-improvement refers to the process of making yourself better in some way. It's about actively working on becoming a better person.
I'm always looking for ways to practice self-improvement.
Another example, she dedicated herself to self-improvement through reading and courses.
Those are all our vocabulary phrases for today. Great job, Jack.
You did amazing, Anna. These phrases are so useful for talking about achievements and growth.
Hey, English learners, it's time for our reflection questions. These are questions for you to think about and maybe even write in your journal. Are you ready, Jack?
I'm ready. These questions are going to help our listeners reflect on their own journeys.
Let's start with the first question. What is it?
First question, what is the biggest achievement you're most proud of this year? Take a moment to really think about it. Why does this achievement mean so much to you?
That's such an important question. Sometimes we downplay our accomplishments, but it's important to celebrate our wins, no matter how small they might seem.
Next question, what is one skill or habit you want to develop or improve in the remaining months of 2025? What specific steps will you take to develop it?
Think about what areas of your life could benefit from growth. Is it a professional skill, a personal quality, a health-related habit?
Next, who is one person in your life that you want to strengthen your relationship with? What is one thing you can do this week to nurture that connection?
Relationships require effort, and even small gestures can make a big difference.
Next question, what is one thing you've been avoiding or putting off that you know would benefit you? What is holding you back, and how can you overcome that obstacle?
We all have things we procrastinate on. Identifying the root cause can help us move forward.
Here's another one. What is something new you want to try or learn about in the next few months? What makes you curious about this topic or activity?
Curiosity keeps life interesting. What is something that excites you to learn more about?
Next, how has your definition of success changed over the past year? What do you now consider to be true success in your life?
Our perspectives on success often evolve as we grow and have new experiences.
Here's another important question. What is one thing you need to forgive yourself for? What is one lesson you can learn from that experience?
Self-forgiveness is so important for our mental health and growth.
Next are 3 things you're grateful for right now. Take a moment to really appreciate them.
Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Here's the final question. Where do you see yourself at the end of 2025? What steps can you take today to move closer to that vision?
Having a clear vision of where you want to go can help you make decisions that support your growth.
Those are all our reflection questions for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Anna.
This has been such a wonderful conversation, Jack. I learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners did too.
That's the goal. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. Keep growing, keep learning, and never stop improving.
We'll see you next time on English Daily, the podcast.
Bye for now, English learners. Take care.
Your learning journey doesn't stop here. Keep improving your English. Click the next video or explore more episodes we've picked just for you. See you in the next lesson.